Hey, everybody, it's Josh here, and I just wanted to take a quick minute before the show gets started to just tell everyone that's listening, thank you. Any way, in any manner in which you consume this, whether it's downloading, listening on YouTube, liking our Instagram posts, following us on there, going to the website and clicking it, however that mechanism is that you choose to consume the content that we produce, I just wanted to say thanks. And on behalf of myself, obviously, and everyone here at Game Rage, we all thank you, because knowing that you're out there and you're listening, and if we can just entertain one person, then really that makes all the blood, sweat, tears, everything we put into this worth it. And I know I'm sounding like a martyr right now, but I just wanted to show our appreciation, I suppose. And also to, just remind everyone to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, and to follow us on Twitter and X or /X at Game Rage Mag, and to also visit our website, www.gameragemagazine.com. And again, thank you from everyone here and myself at Game Rage. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for listening.
So you want to listen to a pretty all-right podcast about wrestling, do ya?
Well, the natural lad, Jet Swag, has said time and time again that there's only one podcast that's the most decent and the most all-rightest in the industry today.
And that's
It's the Game Rage Wrasslin Podcast.
All right. Is it going? Here we go. All right. So this is episode number 2 of the
Dose
the Deuce of the Game Rage Wrasslin Podcast. And those of you who know, I'm Josh, and I'm here with Adam.
Hello? I almost said peace.
And we're also here with Frank as well.
Peace. Yeah.
That was fucking sarcastic. All right, good job, Frank. Anyways, so today's episode is going to be essentially, you kind of got into it a little bit last episode where we were talking about our favorite wrestlers and whatnot. And this one isn't just going to focus on the top of our list. This is also going to focus on, guys that we think are underrated or didn't really get the due that they should have. I guess that's also what underrated means. But, what?
Shelton Benjamin.
Oh, yeah, Shelton Benjamin. That's a good one.
Oh, man. I love
Shelton Benjamin, man.
I fucking love Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, dude. Let's start there. What do you guys think about Shelton Benjamin?
Dude, I thought...
Fucking, it's criminal what they did to him, man.
Oh, my God, dude.
Man.
I fucking love that dude, especially when he was part of Team Angle, dude.
Yeah, that was great.
Well,
Him and
Charlie Haas, man. And that's another one. I really do think that Charlie Haas kind of got fucking screwed. The world's greatest tag team.
I feel bad for him, but at the same time, he had one... To this day, I still remember this moment fondly with him and Goldust. Remember Goldust was trying to turn him gay?
Yeah.
I remember they were a tag team, and he was like, all right, tag me in. All right. He's like, what? Oh, you motherfucker. A little limp fucking high five.
Yeah, I really like that dude, and there was a match between him and Shawn Michaels that was just like a regular... It was just like a regular
It's like a
Monday
Raw match, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what Shelton Benjamin did off of the ropes, but like that was the end of the match, was him jumping off of the ropes, I think, and then Shawn Michaels hitting him with a super kick.
Yeah, sweet
chin music, and it's a lot of people have talked about it because it was just one of those matches that was on a regular Monday Night Raw, and I think a lot of people say that Shelton Benjamin didn't really get what he was due for, but then again, I also don't remember him as somebody that was one of those guys that can cut a promo either.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that I think held him back. His in ring work was impeccable.
He was athletic as fuck, man.
Yeah, dude. And that thing that you're talking about, that moment where he does that thing off the rope, and then HBK super kicks him. I think that was in the Raw Open for like quite a while, like in that little montage when like they're doing that. I think that was in there for quite a while because that was like the little B-roll.
Yeah,
that was like just a great
match that they had, and Shelton Benjamin was a consistent. He put out good matches. He put out good work in the ring, and yeah, you're right. I think maybe I don't really remember him as being a good
they were also
worker.
I don't know if they were heels, but they certainly were formidable tag. He was a formidable tag team with Charlie Haas, because I know they captured like the titles a lot of the times on SmackDown, whatever titles that were on SmackDown, but they were like kind of like the go-to heels when they needed like somebody for people to face up against, and but then again, like they were also notable for being Angle's guys, like his posse, his stable.
You think that they weren't able to grow out of that?
I don't know, because
every time they wrestled, even after that was over, they still wore those wrestling. What was it?
They did, but also Shelton Benjamin would eventually become the gold standard as his like later gimmick too.
Right.
I don't know how well that went over, but I mean, he got a few IC titles out of it.
I mean, like if you look at like whatchamacallit, Christian and Edge, who were under Gabriel. Remember they were the Brood or whatever.
Oh yeah.
They were able to go out of
Gangrel, that's what they were under.
They were able to go out of his shadow and became their own fucking thing.
But they were also I don't want to turn this into a race thing, but it also was because they're white. No, I mean I would say
Vince McMahon's in charge, so most likely.
Yeah, let's just be honest.
Because I know I don't want to turn this into a thing about race.
Too late.
But there are episodes. There's promos where Triple H says things to Booker T. That you're just like, oh my god, dude! How?
Well, remember in the entire history of the WWE, it wasn't until like 10 years ago that they made the first black world champion.
Who was that? The Rock?
No, The Rock was Samoan. He's only half black, so it was okay.
So technically, it didn't count.
So who was the first black champion?
I think it was
what's his name? No, because he was never the WWE regular champion.
He was just the WWE champion. He wasn't the world champion.
Well, technically, yeah. All right, Google that real quick while you're.
Oh, there it is.
Anyways,
it's in my ass.
On a side, back to your kind of the racial thing, but just real quick, okay. Yeah. I just want to say, I just saw a TikTok the other day of do-rag Vince McMahon, all right? Like, and we all remember that. But he did it so many times that they made a 4-minute montage of like all of his best. What's up, dog? What's up, my? And we're like, he literally was saying shit like that, and I'm like, whoa, man, you cannot do that today. There is no way in hell that you could ever pull that off today. That would be canceled immediately. And the fact that wrestling did stuff like that, pushing, I guess, the proverbial, I don't know, envelope or whatever you want to call it, with like what's acceptable in society. That's I guess maybe that's another reason why I like wrestling, because they do ridiculous shit like that. But yeah, do-rag Vince McMahon was a great character. It was totally completely racist, but it was fucking hilarious at the same time. I mean, watching literally a 60-year-old white man wear a do-rag and talk like he's from the hood. What's not to laugh about that? I mean, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. So,
but anyways, yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, technically, The Rock was the first one.
Technically, he was then.
After him, it looks like it was Booker T.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought Booker T was.
Then Mark Henry.
5-time.
Then Kofi Kingston.
Yep, 5-time.
5-time.
Yeah.
5-time.
I still remember that was like the best promo ever when he was on that reign to win it, and he's like, 5.
And then he put up the 1 to the 6.
Yeah, dude. Shit. Well, damn it.
But I was saying so there's only been 5 black champions from what it looks like. 4 The Rock is only half, but I guess you can still count it.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be technical, Booker T was actually the WCW World Heavyweight Champ. So WCW, he was already like the 2 or 3 time.
Oh yeah,
he already won it a couple times.
A lot of times they said it here
in WCW, but so technically WCW actually made the first.
Yeah, they did
black champion.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that like for a lot of the people,
it's funny. Booker T is actually the most decorated champion in WCW. He's won 21 titles in WCW.
Oh yeah, because he won a shit ton of tag titles.
Yeah,
when he was in Harlem Heat with his brother.
We're going after Hogan.
Yeah.
But again, just saying, well, if we're talking about championships, dude, I mean, there was a lot of people that were, how do I word it, like token champions.
Yeah.
Because like, you know how who was the first Latin American champion to hold like a WWE title or the world heavyweight?
He was the first.
So it was like a minute. Like it was a minute before somebody like that won.
Remember, it's a rough area because there was another Latino who won the WWF championship. I think I just can't remember his name. Let's see how little that mattered.
Yeah, but and you know, I think Eddie Guerrero won like numerous championships as like the European title.
The most time,
a shit ton of other titles.
I was going to say the most I've ever seen Latinos win back when I was watching was always the IC title, and they never got pushed to the world title arena because that's what the IC belt was originally for, was to prepare you for the jump to the world title. But
Right, yeah.
But there's some guys that are just like that's the cap for them, and they get multiple title reigns as the IC person, and they're like the people that are they're the stepping stone for the next person that gets pushed. And
it still sticks with me to this day that Doink the Clown never won a title.
Yeah, speaking for all clowns of the world.
Yeah, it's a travesty. I would have to say.
I mean, there's one wrestler I always say deserved a title run at the WWE.
Orlando Bloom. Or not Orlando. It was Orlando Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, same diff.
Yeah.
I mean, it still pisses me off to this day that he never got a title run. He put in the work. He had the legacy, but they never gave him a chance. It was Goldust.
Goldust, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think he only got two IC title runs. Really, he didn't even really get that many.
And then once I think he
was the tag team champion with Booker T, I think,
and his brother,
and
Stardust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, fuck yeah, that is talk about like underrated. That is,
dude. You want to know who's fucking underrated?
Who's that?
Tajiri.
Yes,
fuck Tajiri, man.
I fucking love that dude.
I do too, dude. He like owns his own promotion in Japan or whatever.
What's
now.
it called?
I don't remember what it's called, but it's probably like Nippon-ding, I don't know, some weird Japanese name, probably something that doesn't make sense, you know, like an anime where it's like
super heavy mega, super heavy mega
in another world.
In Japan, all titles are straightforward. Like Dragon Ball Z movies. The Lord Slug. In America, it was called Lord Slug because that's the main villain. In it, Goku goes Super Saiyan and fights him for a little bit. So in America, it's called Lord Slug. In Japan, it's called Super Saiyan Goku. So it's like their titles are straightforward and to the point. I've always noticed. And then, like New Japan, it took over another promotion. So, let's come up with a new name. Nah, we're the new version of that one, New Japan. So their titles are not obscene.
I think it's anime. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's something like it's like some city or one of the regions or states. Or I don't know how they break up prefectures. But anyways, he has like his own.
I mean, to go on a racist tangent again, with Tajiri, it just reminded me of Funaki.
Oh my god, dude, the Kaientai, dude. Yeah, man, good old Kaientai, Taka Michinoku and fucking Funaki, dude. Like. And then remember when he's talking and then like it's like he's doing the subtitles himself, like
it's like a 30-second delay.
Like a delay.
And then by the time they're already halfway in the ring, the audio comes up.
Yeah, man, that was some good shit, man.
Yeah. Well, anyways, speaking of like Tajiri, I thought everything that he did was fucking awesome. Of course, I don't think his English was all that developed, but it didn't really matter to me.
He doesn't own it. He works for a company now.
Oh,
okay.
He must have.
Kiyoshi Pro Wrestling.
Okay. But the Japanese buzzsaw, dude, the green mist, great. That's like I feel like that's like a Japanese
thing,
tradition. But it was the kicks, like whenever he knocked somebody to their knees, like he just hit him with a punch kick.
Can we just appreciate the fact that one of his finishers is an illegal move?
It's technically illegal, yeah.
The tarantula.
The tarantula,
yeah. Dude, that
not
was
just
sick.
the tarantula, but the green mist.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That was also. And then you know what's funny is, okay, speaking of that, when we obviously just suspend our disbelief when we watch wrestling. How?
We do?
But well, I mean,
wait, what do you mean?
When the referee sees a dude has green shit all over his face and he still counts the pin, like wouldn't that be just like automatic disqualification? Hey, I see this guy.
Because at the end of the day, the rules specifically say the ref has to see it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's true because even
I say look at Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, I guess that's
Because even if it, like they do have green mist on their face, it's still possible that they could have put that shit on their own eyes.
Okay, but then think about this. Okay, so there's plenty of instances. Eddie Guerrero, I'm pretty sure, actually did this one time as well, where I think he knocked the dude out with the belt.
Yeah, and then he hits
the chair on the floor and then throws it next to him and then lays on the ground like it got knocked out. And the referee turns around and sees it and goes, "Oh, hey, ding, ding, ding!"
No,
disqualified.
No, he doesn't disqualify him. It's usually the guy starts arguing with the ref. No, I didn't do shit, and that's when he usually comes up and does a small package or some shit.
No, man. He's gotten guys disqualified before. I've seen it happen. All right, and I've seen it happen in other instances, not just with Eddie Guerrero, but like other they've done that.
No, because there's no reason because he cheats to win. You'd only cheat to get disqualified if you were a champion. He's only been a champion once. Well, world champion.
Well, no, you still win when you win by disqualification.
God damn it!
It's still a victory. But anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, sorry, I didn't. That was just me thinking about like him, because this was I think it was 2005 or 6 when he went heel after he was fighting for his. Well, in the story, Dominic was his son, yeah. But after that feud with Rey Mysterio, Batista was like the person that turned him face again. Mm-hmm. And dude, I fucking love that storyline because it was like, it was coincidental situations where Batista, where like Eddie hit him on accident or some shit, and like I think it left Batista like uneasy that. Like their friendship wasn't real, or that Eddie was gonna pull one over on him, and then like the whole story was him like they were gonna when they were going to wrestle for the World Heavyweight Championship, he was actually gonna beat him fair and square, or he wanted to, and it was also like a insurmountable situation where like Eddie Guerrero was like outclassed and outsized by Batista.
But I mean, I get that storyline, but there's no. The outclassing between Batista and Eddie Guerrero was nowhere the same as Brock Lesnar and Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, but still, I guess the thing I wish, as unfortunate as his passing was, dude, it still hurts that I really wanted to see him win the World Heavyweight Championship so that he can have, I don't know if you would call it like a career slam, but for him to win both titles, I'm like, oh my God, that would have been such a cool thing to have.
It would have been a great. Like, if he would have won that title and then retired after that, that would have been a great end to his career.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I know that like we're not talking about Eddie Guerrero, but
yeah, he's the exact opposite of underrated.
Yeah, true. But I mean, this doesn't have to just be all about underrated, but just whatever. But okay, so a side tangent off of what you just said about how fucking insane is it to think, and how fucking old are we that we watched the storyline with Dominic Mysterio as like a 5-year-old, and now he's actually a legitimate professional wrestler, and he's in fucking real storylines and doing crazy shit and being an actual wrestler. Like,
I mean, I don't trip over it. It's just funny that like we saw this kid.
Well, you are quite younger than us.
Well, not really.
Not that much younger.
I'm not that much younger, but it still doesn't really like bother. I think it's just funny.
I'm in my 30s or what? Your late 20s?
No, I'm early 30s.
Early 30s.
A couple years.
You're ancient.
Shut up, you piece of shit.
Yeah, but
you and I are the same age. You fuck.
Whatever you.
Underrated wrestlers. Should we throw Dominic in there? I would say
as a 5-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he certainly knew how to be involved with the storyline with him being an adopted child.
That's true.
Well, how do you feel about Rey Mysterio keeping Eddie's legacy line by him making the frog splash one of his finishers now?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. Like most of us, and this is really bad because then again, like who has the time to watch Raw, like 3 hours of Raw? Mm-hmm. But I only see pieces of Raw or SmackDown because I don't want to watch the whole thing. And so no, unfortunately, like one of those things that I don't see is.
Well, no, it's not something he's been doing recently. He did it ever since Eddie died, and like. Sure, we didn't see much of after his little run as the champion. It made sense for him to have that frog splash as his thing because the whole thing was in honor of Eddie.
Yeah,
which it should have been Chavo, but at the same time, Ray made way more sense to being the champion.
Yeah, Chavo was just kind of a shit. Well, not to say he wasn't a great wrestler, but he certainly wasn't the main attraction for a lot of things. Eddie was like
he wasn't the calling card for the Guerreros.
Yeah, so
that's true.
Which is funny because they were only 2 years apart, but Chavo just seems way younger than Eddie.
I know, man. He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But it's because he's his uncle or whatever. So it always.
But they're only 2 years apart.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, when you think like uncle and nephew, like it makes you think
10 years at least.
Yeah, and then when you look at them,
and it does look 10 years difference between them.
Well, Eddie lived a very hard life.
Yeah.
Fucking true.
You know, so I mean, like that's why he died early. I mean, you know.
But no, but I'm saying my thing is like it's just something like even in AAA and shit, he was using the frog splash as his finisher, and he always did the whole. So, and I think Dominic is doing the frog splash too.
Yeah, you know what? Like they're doing this. Because there's been comparisons made between modern WWE and like things that happened during the 90s, or maybe like 20 or 30 years ago. And the comparisons that are being made right now are Rhea Ripley and Dominic compared to Eddie Guerrero and China. Those are the comparisons that are being made.
You just opened up like a core memory about the whole dynamic between them, between that whole China and Eddie Guerrero.
That was such a great fucking story.
What a weird.
Remember when she was doing Playboy and he actually went to the Playboy mansion and like, no, you gotta let me in. I can't see my mamacita. And the guy, it's okay, don't worry. You can see your mother later. What are you talking about?
Oh man. But yeah, I don't know if that's like a good comparison.
Well, I don't know if it's like a visual thing or if it's story.
I personally don't like her that much.
Rhea Ripley?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know. There's just something puts me off about her.
What is it exactly?
From what little I've seen, like she seems very stiff.
Listen,
stiff, like in the ring, like she hits
in
people,
general, and just in general,
just stiff. Oh, I just like her because she's a snarky.
No, that I like about her too.
Snarky muscle mommy, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, that's
that's
what I like. That's what I like.
I feel
to
like
see.
like her wrestling style would be like, oh, I'm gonna run into you. Oh no, you're a wall. Like I feel like that's, even though it's not, I just feel like that's how she should be, but she's not. So it's kind of like throwing things off for me.
Yeah, maybe that could be it. You're expecting
like,
something different, and you're getting something.
So
that's not what you're expecting.
Nothing against her. It's just something feels off about her, and I think it's just that, honestly. So it's nothing against her. It's just, and then Dominic, he does not seem like he's a Mysterio.
Nah, he's well, I mean,
listen, not to hate, not to knock.
that dude's
her.
over. The dude's over.
Dude's over. I mean, that's at the end of the day. That's the goal, right? And mission accomplished.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, like I was just kind of hoping he could bring back that old school Mexican style lucha libre wrestling, but
I
don't think it's ever gonna have a place in WWE.
He doesn't.
No.
He's not coordinated enough for that, dude. Like he doesn't.
I don't think it's that. I just think I don't think it has a place in the modern WWE anymore.
yeah, I mean, they don't even. I mean, I don't know if they brought back or they were talking about bringing back the cruiserweight division. I mean, I think it got relegated to like NXT for a while, but I mean, you know, again, that's one of the things that I think Bischoff figured out was with WCW was like, hey, this shit is sweet.
Ooh.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. Like we need to put this on TV. And I mean, that's one of the things that kept them at the top for so long.
Is it weird that Eddie Guerrero started off as a crazy and ended up in the heavyweight
That is
division?
just crazy. That is crazy if you think
And
about
still wrestled like a cruiserweight?
Well, it's true. It's because it's what he knew. You know, I mean, that's what he knew, and he turned it into. I mean, yeah, he
It's
just
funny, like you always consider lucha libre to be high flying shit like that.
Yeah, acrobatic stuff.
right.
But I mean, if you look at Mil Máscaras,
Right, yeah.
Mil Máscaras, Mil Muertes,
Blue Demon Jr.
Blue Demon Jr., they're power luchador wrestling, and that shit feels different than regular American power wrestling too. So
Yeah,
like,
it definitely is for sure.
so like lucha libre has its own little flair to it that I don't know that I rarely get from American style wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite wrestlers is Sami Zayn, and he does like high flying shit, but it's not lucha libre high flying shit. And like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like there's something different about lucha libre style.
It hits differently.
It hits different.
and
There's nothing wrong with the American
nothing
style
wrong with
wrestling.
it at all. But there's just something about, like, for me, watching back in the day, like watching the lucha libre wrestling was just like, holy shit! Like this is amazing. This is. It's not the same. Yes, it's the same concept. It's two dudes fighting each other in a ring, right? But just the presentation is way different. Same thing with New Japan. New Japan hits differently when you watch it, especially when you got that weird shit where the audience doesn't fucking cheer, or
that's weird.
or they only clap at like certain clap times and they just clap. Like that freaks me
And
out.
then they throw those ribbons in the ring.
Yeah, well, really, Ring of Honor fucking got that.
Well, no,
I mean, that started there in Japan, but like Ring of Honor really made that a thing, like here, which is cool. I mean, but
I don't know, like the way I feel about it is that. I mean, I guess that's the wrong way of saying it, but for me, I feel like wrestling in America is what's the word? I guess
corporate
entertainment.
Yeah.
It's just entertainment, like something to go watch and do. But in Mexico, I feel like lucha libre is the culture. It's because if you look here in it took, how long has wrestling been in America? For like 40, 50, 60 years, hundreds?
Yeah, since like the 30s maybe, or 40s.
Yeah, so it took all this time until The Rock for one of them to become a movie star. And
That's
in
true.
Mexico, if you're a go to lucha libre star, you're in movies.
You're just automatically in the movie.
That's how fucking intertwined wrestling is in the Mexican culture.
Yeah, it's funny, like, just remembering watching, because, you flip through the channels and you find this bit. Like, that was kind of how I watched Lucha Libre 2, was watching on Univision or Telemundo or Noticias 34. Yeah. I used to watch, man? I used to watch that shit. And so I would occasionally, when I'm flipping through the channels looking for Lucha Libre, because it'd usually be on it later at night, I would come across they'd have movies, and so there was one where it was literally Blue Demon Jr.
You sure it was Junior, not the dad?
Well, it could have been the dad. I don't know. It was like an older, like it probably was. I was an idiot. I was a kid. I didn't fucking know, but it was probably the dad. It was probably Blue Demon, and he literally mask, and he's wearing a suit, and
I remember that shit.
And every fucking movie he was in, the full mask and a suit.
That's just a regular suit, a super shiny, elaborate suit.
Yeah, man, like, and then he just beats the shit out of everybody. And I was just like, man, I like this. So then I started flipping around, and anytime I would see anyone with a luchador mask on, I was watching it. Didn't give a fuck. And listen, I didn't speak Spanish, all right, so I didn't know shit. I fucking learned Spanish partial words just from watching that shit, and like, man, it was the greatest. I love it. I still watch that shit to this day.
Okay, so now that you're kind of mentioning the difference between like American and Mexican wrestling, what Frank's saying about culture, I think that makes. I think there's also legacy to it.
Yeah,
because you guys are talking about like
Blue Demon Jr.
Yeah, like there's
Rey
descendants.
Rey Mysterio Jr.
So
Guerreros. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, like what you were saying about them, and because it's not just like you're learning a style, like you're passing on all the knowledge, all the history, all the experiences, and all that shit. And it, not to say that doesn't happen in the U.S., but it feels like the story behind a mask and all that stuff, it means something. And maybe it's different in the US and Canada, because maybe you study with like the Bret Hart family or something like that, but like that maybe that's one exception of like a North American family that you're like, oh my god, I'm learning with fucking Bret Hart's family, or
the Hart Foundation. What is it called? The Hart Foundation.
Yeah, that was like,
or Dusty Rhodes. Like if you learned with Dusty Rhodes, then you're like, oh my god, I'm setting myself up for like, well, hopefully you're setting up for a nice career if you're an understudy with them. But like after that, like I don't really know anybody else as far as like.
And I think
legacy figures with American.
Well, I think it's because legacy. So legacy, I think, is different in Lucha Libre as opposed to like here in Canada, because it's not just.
Wait, we're in Canada?
Well, I said here
and Canada. I was just giving shit.
It's not like that, because when you pass on the mask, you're passing on the gimmick to whoever it's gonna be. Right?
That's fucking long-term storytelling,
right?
But then, so unless you're dumb enough to sign with the WWE, then they steal that from you.
Then they steal it from you,
just become
and then you become fucking
Sin Cara, yeah.
You just become the next. Yeah,
that shit was.
That's so fucked up, man.
That's fucked up.
That is so fucked up. But anyways, back to the original point. I do think that's why it hits differently with the way that the storytelling is because it's like, yeah, that character has legacy. So like Bob Orton Sr. didn't pass on his gimmick, Cowboy Bob Orton, to Randy Orton. Dusty Rhodes didn't pass on the plumber gimmick to Gold Dust. He didn't pass it on to Cody Rhodes either.
Or the polka dots.
Or the polka dots. Well, that may be getting passed on to Cody Rhodes here soon, against his will, I guess, as you could say. But that's the stuff that I think really does set it apart And in Japan too, they kind of there are some guys that they have that character and they pass it on to the next guy or whoever's going to be the next big guy. They pass on, like the Ultimo Dragon. I think he passed on his character. Well, he kind of got started in Japan, but he was a Japanese guy, and then I think he passed on the gimmick to a Hispanic guy, and then I think he passed it on to like another Japanese guy. So like it goes around and around.
Who's the current receiver of the Super Dragon?
Super Dragon.
But no, what's his name? Remember he was in Lucha Underground, and then he was in WWE for a while. His gimmick was that he was the bringer of death.
Oh shit!
Zero Miedo, Zero Fear.
No, yeah, that's what's his name? They're in AEW.
I think you're talking about Johnny Mundo, dude.
No,
Johnny Morrison.
John Morrison.
No, that was he was also in Lucha Underground, but he wore white and black. He was like face paint.
Yeah, they're the Lucha Brothers. He's one half of the Lucha Brothers.
I know, but I'm trying to remember who his name is.
El Penta Zero was what his name was. Pentagon Jr.
Yeah, Pentagon Jr. was his name in Lucha
Pentagon
Underground.
Jr. And then he changed his name to El Penta something Zero something now. But yeah,
because I think Triple A owns it.
Yeah, I think that was exactly what it was. They sued him, which that sucks too. Like the promotion owning, it's like the same. It's kind of, even though it's
Well, that's why The Rock was able to get away with it though, because I think they didn't want to fight him on it.
Well, I think
he made a lot of money.
Well, I think he got a lot more eyes on to watch the WWE, because when you see Dwayne The Rock Johnson on a movie poster, you don't know who he is.
Well, I was literally watching, like, those people that do ambush interviews on the streets, and they were doing one about The Rock, and he's like, "Do you know where The Rock gets his name from?" "I don't know. Does he like boulders?" Like, no, people did not know he was a wrestler.
Oh my god!
A lot of people don't know that, and it's that short
again, like we were just talking about Star Wars.
The
Force.
How quickly something can be forgotten.
Yeah, I mean, really, that is insane. How it's been. What, 20? Yeah, it's been basically 20 years, 20 years.
Dude,
exactly.
He probably is known more as a movie star than he is a wrestler at this point.
And that's a sad. I don't want to say sad, because he moved on to greater and bigger things. But he was one of the greats in wrestling, and he's not going to be remembered for that.
He is, but I mean, like,
I really don't think he's gonna be really remembered for that at the end. To be honest with you, I really think his movie career has overshadowed everything he's done. In
good and bad.
Good and bad.
I mean, we all saw was it Be Cool?
The Tooth Fairy.
Be Cool, man. The Tooth Fairy.
Choice movies.
Hey, man.
Hey, I loved The Rundown, but people hated it.
I did too. I thought that was a good movie, man.
My favorite movie from him is still The Walking Tall.
Oh, that is definitely a good one. That is definitely a good one.
You know how I love the fact that we were we were fucking talking about like
underrated wrestlers.
Everything else, like we started with Fury and then started about
Eddie
racism.
Guerrero.
Yeah, then we
started talking about all the top tier wrestlers again.
But you know what? That's what people are going to come back to and listen to this podcast on a regular basis, is because we don't just stick to one topic. All right, we run the gamut.
We don't even make any sense.
No, it doesn't even make sense when we transition from topic to topic. It is what it is. You're getting a lot of different things here.
All right, so now I don't know if we've gotten everything out, but like, do we go back to talking about underrated wrestlers?
Yes.
I would dare fucking open it up to. I think we should open up to managers.
General
managers.
Do it.
Because
let's do it.
Fucking
Teddy Long, man. Holla, holla, holla.
My favorite thing. You're gonna be in a match with an Undertaker, or like 20-man battle royale, 6-pack matches on
I love that shit,
Friday night SmackDown.
Oh yeah, dude.
I love that shit. Oh, you pissing me off, bro. Undertaker.
You're gonna go to the Undertaker. Oh, you're a champion. You're pissing me off. Oh, you're gonna be in a 20-man battle royal right now with the title on the line.
With the Undertaker.
I can't, dude. There's never been a better general manager for SmackDown, and the swagger, dude. Like the way he like kind of
walking out with that oversized suit on, like
just swag.
It's
like,
clearly 3 or 4 sizes too big.
It's the swag, and dude, that guy used to be a fucking referee, dude.
Yeah,
like,
that's how he started.
How the fuck did he end up manager, dude?
Fucking, he paid his dues. He paid his dues, and one time they said, "Fuck it, let's give him a chance," and then he took advantage of it and turned it into.
So yeah, would you say he's easily the best SmackDown general manager that they had?
I liked when Paul Heyman was manager too.
That was pretty cool.
You know who I thought actually did a pretty good job?
Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I think so too.
I think I think I don't know if it was Paul Heyman or Stephanie McMahon that gave their title shot to Eddie, but
that was when they were done with managers, really. Like
done with managers.
When this year's manager of SmackDown is going to be him. Like, it was just, I think, who was the last one? And they just kind of never mentioned it again. And this is when it went back to just, I guess, the whole management kind of deal.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, like, I don't remember them, because I don't remember that being a storyline anymore.
Oh, well,
I'm saying.
I could have sworn it was either Paul Heyman or...
I think Paul Heyman was the one that
if it was one
of
of them two, it would be Paul Heyman.
But yeah, dude, managers, Teddy Long, super awesome. I love that dude as a general manager.
Do you know why he did that? The whole 6-man tag team, 8-man tag team matches and shit?
I don't know, for people to get their money's worth?
No, because he wanted to make sure he got as many wrestlers to be out there as possible.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Well,
because, you always had those reserves. Like, what's his name? Crime Time?
Oh,
Prime time. Yeah.
So you always have those guys back there doing nothing. And might as well, hey, we're paying them, might as well go use them, and at the same time they're out there being seen again. So
yeah,
he was giving more wrestler chances.
Yeah. This dude isn't exactly underrated, but especially because he worked with was it WCW, Eric Bischoff, and it's not really so much the general managing that he did or the booking that he did. It was the fucking theme song. I'm back.
Well, you know what's funny is when he was like there as the general manager, he actually wasn't in charge of anything at all. He was just a character. That was it. That's all he did. He was just talent. And he didn't make any decisions regarding anything. He's been pretty well documented or whatever you want to call it about saying that stuff about it. He just was there and he was like, oh yeah, they didn't. Nobody asked him shit about what he thought. They were just like, here's your shit to do.
What do you think was more prevalent as a situation, like when they announced, oh, Eric Bischoff is coming to WWE, and him and Vince McMahon had that hug, after being years of rivals and shit.
Right, yeah.
Or when him and Stone Cold become allies and they have that infamous handshake.
Oh, 100%. The more impactful is which is right, or what was more of a like
surprise
was the fucking Stone Cold and the Vince McMahon one, to me at least. I mean, I always kind of thought once WCW got bought, Bischoff was eventually going to go to, because I didn't know at the time that he was not really considering, he was considering buying WCW from Turner, and then they kind of fucked him did a back deal and sold it to WWE for pennies on the dollar. But I thought eventually he was going to come back in some form, but I did not like that WrestleMania fucking 17 shit. I did not see that coming, man. Like, when you never thought that Stone Cold would ever be buddies with old Vince McMahon. That was definitely not something I saw coming. But that was also a shock too. Seeing them hug was very awkward too when they did that, because
they were like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah, basically you're a piece of shit. You're gonna make me money now.
God, did he win the Monday Night Wars?
Oh fuck yeah, he did.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. How it doesn't suck, but because it is what it is, and may the best man win. But it is funny that both. Well, I don't know how big each promotion was, but for Paul Heyman for ECW to go under, and then Eric Bischoff with WCW to have that taken away from him, and then they both end up in the WWE. It kind of sucks, because it's like, well, shit. Well, I can't turn down an opportunity to work in wrestling.
True.
But it's like, damn, that has to eat you a little bit inside, that you weren't the promotion that ultimately survived.
Yeah, true.
They ate fucking their two biggest rivals.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. It's like, well, now they're the monopoly on wrestling. And even now, I think this is something we talked about in the last podcast, and AEW's kind of being like the new brand or the new promotion that's trying to cut into the market share for wrestling, but I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
Well, did you see that?
Well, now that he owns whatever Ring of Honor or whatever, the Tony Khan or whatever, they're like the second and third wheel of professional wrestling at the same time.
Well, I was about to say, the whole, how they're having that whole Xbox Expo right now.
Yeah.
One of the games they announced was AEW.
Oh yeah, man, that game looks like shit, man.
Fight Forever.
I don't know, dude. It looks fucking like garbage. I want to play it just to see what it plays like, but it looks graphically, it looks like shit.
It's made by THQ.
Yeah, which is the guys who used to make all the great fucking WWE, the WWE games and stuff. So,
For me, no game is ever going to top WrestleMania 2000.
oh man, that game was fucking awesome, dude.
Never played that one. I played Here Comes the Pain.
That was a good one, too.
SmackDown, yeah.
No Mercy.
All the SmackDown games were good, man. Like they were all good.
I think it's funny, like, I never played it, but they said that WCW only had one good game.
Which one was the one?
WCW versus Endo.
Yeah, I think so.
That one probably is definitely my favorite.
That's the one I remember playing on the
And
N64.
the good old N64, yeah, man, that one was a good one.
Well, shit. I want to get back
Underrated,
to
yeah, underrated.
Who were we talking about?
Eric Bischoff. We talked about
Well,
Teddy
you were talking
Long.
about that, Teddy Long. We were talking about
Tajiri.
managers and stuff.
All right, so I said Tajiri, like I said, really awesome in the ring.
Yeah,
he had
yeah.
really cool, awesome moves, and I think he was in. Dude, I don't know how many combinations of tag teams he was in, but it was always a real joy to see that motherfucker in matches, and especially when he was a champion, because, like I said, he always put on great matches, and Japanese Buzzsaw, dude, when he kicked the shit out of
People in the back of the head.
yeah, fuck, man. I mean, Daniel Bryan, like, sure, he does it good, but man, Tajiri is like,
Tajiri did it.
yeah, he just did it the best.
Yeah.
But,
Daniel Bryan was considered. Tajiri, he would give a motherfucker concussion.
yeah, dude. And then so recently, I really like this dude named Rick Rubin, who's like a producer that has pretty much worked with everybody as far as music goes. And I love this about him. Like, the guy doesn't have like a, how do I word it? One of the few things he has interest in is fucking wrestling, and he started a new podcast, and this one isn't exclusively music; it's open to pretty much anything. And he recently had Paul Heyman.
Oh shit! You had him on there?
He had Paul Heyman on there, and they're talking about, like, you know, Paul Heyman's career from like his earliest days, and Paul Heyman like hopping in the car with what's the Rock's family's name? Anuai.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I can't say it.
Well, anyways, he spent a great deal of time with like the Rock's family and stuff, and I don't know. He was talking about how like they were Taz. They were like how they built up Taz, because Taz wasn't somebody that was. I don't know if he wasn't all that threatening, but he also wasn't somebody that talked a lot.
Yeah.
Like, but it's so ironic hearing that conversation, because you know later on that Taz would eventually become a commentator for SmackDown and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was also the fact that they built, because they were talking about how they built up characters, and they were talking about Taz specifically because of his size being 5'8", but a lot of people were convinced that motherfucker could beat he could kick anybody's ass, and it was because of what was this submission move called?
Oh, the Taz Mission.
The Taz Mission. And a lot of people, not only like the audience, but actual wrestlers are like, oh my god, this is like the baddest motherfucker on the planet. But yeah, that was just kind of cool. And you know, since we're on the subject of underrated wrestlers, I would throw in the ring Taz's name.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I think he for sure was underrated. I mean,
He was, he was a really good wrestler. But personally, I really loved him as a broadcaster.
I
yeah,
thought
me too. I think he did great. I think he was
I
excellent.
really liked him and Michael Cole.
Yeah, dude, they were fucking great. Like,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was half the reason to watch Raw, because their
SmackDown.
commentary was so good.
SmackDown, yeah.
SmackDown. Yeah.
Yeah,
because
no, definitely.
Jim Ross and the King were
The
still
King were on
Raw.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and that's another guy who's that utility type player where you could, if you needed him to be the top guy, you could put him up there and he could be your world heavyweight champion. If you need him to commentate, he can commentate. If you need him to, you know, do some mic work, he can do some mic work. If you needed him just to fucking be a whatever, he could do it. And you know, I think that was part of not the downfall, but like when you go to the WWE after being a competitor from them, I don't think they're ever going to make you the top guy like that. I think that they...
And also, not to say that being 6 foot even or and above is a qualification for being world champion, but being 5'8" doesn't help.
No, okay, yeah, sure. It definitely doesn't help in the Vince McMahon scheme of things when you got to have the look of you need to look like a bodybuilder, and you need to fucking, you know... yeah, exactly. So that definitely doesn't help. However, I just think that Taz having been a world champion in another organization, I just didn't think that Vince was ever going to give him a shot, and obviously he never did get a shot. But
Yeah. Well, what happened to him? Because he got injured or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, he broke
his neck?
Yeah, that was he broke his neck in fucking when he was in ECW, and he literally walked to the hospital, and they were like, no, you didn't. And he was like, yeah, no. They're like, oh, how'd you get here? And he's like, oh, I walked. And they're like, no, you didn't. And he's like, yeah, I didn't. And they're like, well, you have a broken neck. Like, you shouldn't even be able to move, let alone walk here. And he was like, oh, well, that's okay. What do I got to do to fix it? And then, that was when he was working at ECW, and then I think he just had neck problems throughout the whole rest of his career, and that eventually was what did him in, and he was just like, fuck this, I don't think I can want to do this anymore. And then he had too many surgeries and fucking fuses and everything, kind of like Kurt Angle, that's his neck injuries and stuff, but and then I think that's kind of how he kind of got into commentating, and then they figured, oh shit, this guy could do this, and then, that's what he does now. So
yeah, other underrated wrestlers you can think of.
For me, I think that I really think Hardcore Holly, man, was like a really.
I remember his neck being broken on TV.
Oh yeah.
Dude. I was like, oh my god, this guy, dude, it was Brock Lesnar versus Hardcore Holly, and I don't know what he did to him, but he slammed his neck. I'm like, this guy's dead, dude.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah, I think that dude was a guy that I think he had the look that Vince was looking for. He his mic skills were not necessarily probably the top of the notch, but as far as in ring work goes, I mean, I think he was really good. He was always one of those top tier jobber kind of guys,
Yeah, I don't see. Okay, I don't know if this is a reason for him not to be champion, but I feel like him being from the South and his move being called the Alabama Slam, I don't think that helped.
Alabama man.
But remember, man, they can change that. They could change that if they wanted to make you the.
But you can only make one first. Well, I guess that's not true because The Rock didn't really have a successful one with Rocky Maivia, but
that's true. That's true. Hot Garbage was Rocky Maivia. Everybody hated him. It was, what's funny, just to go on another side tangent, everybody bitching about everything today that they don't like about wrestling or whatever, how it's just, you're just shoving these guys down our throats, blah, 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 right? It was the same thing back then, too. Nobody liked Rocky Maivia because they were just shoving him down the throat. He was like a cookie cutter seeming type of character, and nobody liked it. And then finally they let him kind of embrace the hate, and then he eventually turned into The Rock and became the most popular
He kept asking Vince, just give me the mic for 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes. He kept asking him. He said, no, I don't want you. No. And finally Vince gave in, and then that little speech, and then he went from Rocky Maivia to The Rock.
Yeah. But back to the thing, Hardcore Holly. Yeah, definitely. I think he was an underrated. He was, top tier jobber, I guess you could call him. But
I just remembered one for myself. Fucking Damien Sandow.
Oh yeah, man, Damien Sandow, man. That he
the guy that had everything.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
God, and then when they tried to punish him by making him what's his name, stunt double, and he fucking owned it and made it something great,
and he got it over. That was that.
So good, dude. Damien Sandow,
so good, man.
I just remember
what is he? Is he even wrestling anymore now? I don't think I've seen him on anything, to be honest with you. If I can think about it. I don't think he's in AEW. I don't think he's anywhere.
All right. I got one, but I don't know where I don't know if he's underrated, but he never became world champ. I don't think he ever became world champion, but he was just one of those top mid-carders. And I feel like it's because he's Latin American. But Carlito.
Oh, yeah, man. Carlito.
That's not cool. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, dude, you know what? Carlito is just basically Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
Well, he talked about that shit, too, on a podcast I saw him, and he got pissed off about that shit. But I give him credit. One of the best moments I had in wrestling was Flair was having the whole storyline was he was at the end of the rope and this was his last chance. That was the storyline they were kind of going with. And he's in the back just thinking about it. They're about to announce the next number one contender, and Carlito just lost to the Eddie Guerrero or Chavo because I remember they cheated to beat him.
Yeah. And
he's walking out with Tori Wilson, oh yeah, whatever. And we're going, oh hey, what's up, man? He goes, where are you going? Oh yeah, I'm going. We're going to go out. He goes, well, don't you want to see the tape of from what you lost? It's no, those guys cheat, so it doesn't matter. well, they're about to announce the next number one contender. Who cares? And like, Ric Flair goes off on him. Like, it almost felt kind of real. Like, he was going off on this generation being lazy, not wanting to do the work. And like, he's right there. He's fighting to keep his job essentially. And this fool's just like, whatever. Like, doesn't want to give a shit. Like, I give him credit for, he sold arrogant asshole. And he sold, oh shit, I just got humbled. Like, he sold that shit. Like, it was supposed to be Flair's moment. He made it Flair's moment. Like, it was, I give him credit for that scene because it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Carlito. I do remember a lot of, Carlito had a lot of good matches too, man. Like, they were all entertaining for the most part from what I remember. And yeah, I mean, he was, like you said, like a kind of a mid-level, I think, what was it? Intercontinental? Did he have an Intercontinental title run?
Did he even make it that far? I thought he only got U.S.
Maybe it was the U.S. title. But he was that, like, mid-level.
I think he took it off John Cena before he ended up getting pushed as a main eventer.
Wasn't there some kind of controversy with him and that he had to leave the WWE?
Yeah, there was something. I don't know what it was, but yeah. They actually had him on for the Puerto Rican pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. They had it with, like, Bad Bunny and stuff. Yeah. But apparently he got, like, a huge pop. And the thing that he said on Twitter was like, "Oh, my price just went up." Oh, that's fair. I mean, dude, like, you're not wrestling in the WWE, so you're not probably. I don't think you're getting paid as good as if you had stayed. But like, it's like, oh well, at least now he gets to. If he has that kind of draw, then like maybe
he was an Intercontinental champion.
Huh? He was.
He was.
Yeah, I knew he was an Intercontinental champion at some point.
Yeah, it just says, oh, yeah, he was on some drugs and refused to go to rehab.
Oh, so that's what it was.
Okay, there it is.
It doesn't say drugs, but most likely he was probably on steroids. No, I don't even think they care about
rehab for steroids. They encourage that. They encourage steroid use.
If we're going to follow the logic of wrestlers, it was probably painkiller.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm sure it was. Some shit like that.
All right, so what qualifies as like the definition of underrated? Because are we talking about people that like didn't hold titles, like the main event titles, or could it include people that were
people?
Oh yeah, I think you can give people who were in won titles if you thought that they were underutilized, underrated, didn't get the level of like appreciation that they should have been given, or whatever you want to call it.
Before he won the World's Strongest Man competition, Mark Henry was underutilized. It wasn't until he won that, and they said, "Oh shit, we could use this."
Sexual chocolate, Mark Henry did.
Yeah,
the father of the hand that came out of Mae Young's. I just watched another thing earlier today where it was Hardcore Holly, Crash Holly, and Viscera, and it's literally said that the three of them were the reason that Mae Young gave birth to a hand, and I was like, "There's no way," and I was like, "I don't remember that happening," and so then I remember. As I saw it, I was watching it, and literally, she comes out inexplicably for no reason in the middle of them three doing something, and just starts stomping on Crash Holly. And so Hardcore Holly comes in and just fucking clotheslines the shit out of her, and then they start him and Crash Holly start both stomping her ass, and then Viscera goes, no guys, and they're like, what? And he's like, watch this, and he goes to the ropes and he does this like fucking splash on her and just basically murders, and then he's laughing and just like it was pretty, and then all three of them are laughing, and then Mark Henry runs out. He's like, oh god, and then all the ENTs, and then that's what causes like the fucking hand to like.
Dude, you know what? Okay, so now that you mentioned Viscera, it made me laugh because I don't know his entire career and everything, but I know he was part of like the Ministry of Darkness, right? Like, he was part of Undertaker's stable, and he was kind of like a sinister figure, right?
Right.
But then sometime afterwards, he became like this weird like sexual figure, and like he wore like silk, like silk clothing, and I think in one match, like he was wrestling somebody. And it was a dude, and he was like grinding up against, like, it was basically doggy style, right? Like he actually humped the person. I'm like, oh my god, this is kind of why are they doing this? But yeah, dude, that was like one of the strangest turn of like characters that Viscera is like just one of those weird characters that happened in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was even before that in the 90s. I think he was King Mabel was his name.
Oh, Mabel, yeah.
And he used to wear this purple Like it was like a silk kind of like jumpsuit, and he looked like a shiny Grimace. That's what he fucking looked like. It just came from my head. That's what I always thought when I saw him. But yeah, no, I mean,
sorry, I'm still processing the whole. You guys brought up Mae Young, and now I just can't stop thinking about when she went topless on that pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, but you get to see what's her name? The cat. What the fuck was her actual name? I don't remember off the top of my head. But Jerry Lawler was banging her for a while.
Jerry Lawler was banging every diva.
I mean, that's true. Well, not every diva, but
All right, so I actually have a good one.
oh, all right, go ahead. Let me hear it.
So I think this guy held it down as like a heel for the cruiserweight division, and
You gonna say? I think. Let's see if you're gonna say what I think.
Jamie Noble.
Yep, that's exactly what
I was thinking that too.
Oh yeah, good old Jamie Noble and Nydia or whatever her name was.
Yeah, like I do.
Were they cousins? Right? They were cousins, right?
I don't know if they were.
I think that was in the storyline. They were cousins.
Like it was just so weird because I think. Because he was kind of like a sexual deviant.
Oh, yeah.
And he always wanted a threesome with like Tori Wilson.
Yeah.
So like during matches,
You
like
remember when he won the lottery or some shit?
the lottery.
Like, or he inherited like a shit ton of money. He became rich.
Oh really?
Yeah, like that was like the storyline. That's why he was going after Tori Wilson because he had the money to.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
yeah.
Well, anyways, like during the match, I think it was like Rey Mysterio and Tori Wilson versus Nydia and Jamie Noble, and like at some point, Nydia is gonna get like the what's that move where you like shove your bum into people's faces, but you're like running.
A hip check.
Are they on the bottom rope?
Yeah, like they're sitting like the person's like knocked out.
The
and they-
Rikishi special.
Maybe, I mean,
That's what I called it. This is when
Well, when Rikishi does it, it's called the stink face. That's what it's actually called.
but no, this is like you get a running start and
then you turn around.
and turn around, you bump the person.
yeah, it's mostly a diva move, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But anyways, so Jamie Noble, like Nydia gets
I
that.
remember that, yes,
Nydia gets like a face full of Tori Wilson's ass, and then this
and
dude
then he
he
pulls it
swats her,
out.
and he's like
Gets in there,
wiping
yeah.
his face. He's like, "Do me," and then Tori Wilson's like getting ready, and then Rey Mysterio
comes
hops
in.
over and just does the cowboy, or was it the cowboy?
the Bronco Buster,
The
yeah.
Bronco Buster,
With his dick in his face.
yeah. So I was like, oh my god, this is fucking hilarious. But I like that dude because I think he was like one of the more notable heels for like the cruiserweight division because it's like Rey Mysterio and a few others, but this guy was like kind of like the mainstay in that division.
You know who else I thought was underrated was this fucking Billy Kidman, man. Like he was in the cruiserweight division
I remember
too.
that dude. Yeah, he was kind
He
of.
had that. He had that like. It was. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't exact. It was like a short shooting star press, but it was like he did. It was like he flipped.
Didn't he do it off the ropes, not the turnbuckle?
Yeah, he did it off of like one of the ropes. Like, but he was pretty fucking good.
I think it was his face though. Like,
Yeah,
he
his
wa-
fa- I
I don't
know
know if
his
he
face.
was ugly or something, but like,
if you guys are talking about cruiserweights, though, how can we forget about the Hurricane?
Oh,
Hurricane.
fucking hurricane, man! Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
I usually turned off the TV when that dude was on.
Oh man, the hurricane was pretty good, man. And then fucking when he had Rosie,
let's be honest, it was a horrible gimmick.
It was a stupid.
yeah, but he fucking
He was
yeah,
a good
but
wrestler.
but he fucking was a good wrestler though. Like,
He did beat The Rock once. That was pretty funny.
yeah, man. Yeah, old Sugar Shane Helms fucking turned him into a
was
superhero. Shitty
I
superhero.
don't know why, but that made me remind me of this guy who was talking about when he stopped watching wrestling. Was when it was Rey Mysterio versus the Big Show versus the Great Khali versus somebody else, and Rey Mysterio won the match. So this is when I stopped watching wrestling.
All right, this is kind of this. I don't know if this dude was ever a world champion, but he certainly had the look, and he was kind of badass because he was like super. I think he towered over people, and I also think it's not Heidenreich, but
Damn, I thought it was gonna go with that.
yeah, but he also just had like that V-shaped muscular figure, the like the Vince McMahon ideal model for like a wrestler,
Yeah.
right? Chris Masters, dude, the Master Lock.
Oh yeah, man, Chris Masters, dude. Yeah, he was the blueprint of what Vince McMahon, I think, is wet dream, I guess, basically of what he wants in a wrestler. He had the look down.
But I don't remember if like he was somebody that cut promos or not.
Nah,
but,
I don't think he was too good at that.
He just like his matches ended quick. Like it was a lot of squash
Yeah.
matches.
Right. Who was that wrestler that was doing a promo back in the old days? And he was doing the promo. He was like, oh, fuck it, let me start over. Like, this is live, man. Oh, fuck.
I don't remember that.
Fuck, now it's going to be bugging me.
Anyways, yeah, Chris Masters, I agree with you 100%. I think that dude was underrated for sure in terms of what he could do. Wrestling match wise, I felt like he was pretty good, but mic work, I don't know. I don't really.
Cause I can't even remember. I remember
he was like a heel. He was like a mid-level heel. So like it wasn't really. I don't think he really got a lot of opportunity to really showcase himself. And I mean he's been in I think independents and other things over the last several years, but I haven't really watched him to see what he's looking like or doing now.
I mean, not to stereotype the guy, but he's just kind of like a beefcake dude.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
You know, there's another guy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
No, I was gonna say another guy who I think is I would consider him to be underrated. Fucking Val Venus, man. Like,
Val Venus, that sounds
like
familiar.
fucking that dude, man. He could talk, he could wrestle, and I do think that he got his due in terms of. I'm pretty sure he still works for the WWE. I think he's always been like one of those kind of backstage kind of guys or whatever, like an agent.
Jamie Noble.
Yeah, Jamie Noble too back there. But yeah, Val Venus, man, during that Attitude Era, dude. Oh man, he could fucking. I don't know. He could work the mic. He could fucking, he could wrestle well. I mean, he was that mid-level. He was Intercontinental Champion a couple times. He had a couple good feuds. But yeah, man, he was a good one too.
Okay, so this dude wasn't. He got the ringer for the last stint of his career with the WWE. But what do you guys think about Matt Hardy in his I would say his 90s persona and even the 2000s
version. Was it version 1 or some shit?
Listen,
version
man,
1.
I love that. I love that theme song.
Yeah.
I love that. That was so. To me, that was kind of the beginning of seeing how creative Matt Hardy is, because he was involved with creating that part of his game. So the V1, and then he did that thing where it was the old dial-up, it was the thing of the border around the screen, and it would have Matt Hardy facts.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I love that. He had
right,
yeah. It was
I remember one was Matt Hardy keeps his house at a balmy 74 degrees.
Yeah, Matt Hardy hates peanut butter, shit like that.
I can't. Well, that's something a tornado.
You can slap a tornado or something, and then something up a.
But I always,
dude, I thought as a tag team wrestler and that was one too where a lot of times the guys when they're in a tag team and then they go solo, there's always one that ends up getting fucked and one of them ends up blowing up. Usually,
I didn't even like Jeff Hardy that much.
Neither
dude.
did I.
I didn't like. I liked Matt Hardy.
To be
better.
fair, Jeff Hardy fucked himself.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
Did, but I also just like Matt Hardy better to begin with.
Yeah,
anyways,
I agree. I did like Matt Hardy better because I thought he was a more compelling character. And then even further down the line, and really Matt Hardy got shafted hard
with Edge,
with the whole Edge thing, man.
Lita, that was fucked.
They made that a storyline, bro. That's fucked up, dude. But I mean, goddamn, he sold a lot of tickets for that. I'm sure, the people who watch that shit.
Yeah, I'm sure people loved taking their kids to see Edge and Lita have
sex in the bed, in the
what
middle of the ring.
What the fuck were they thinking, dude?
He's the rated R superstar, man.
That's true. I mean, that's how you get the name. I mean, fuck.
The one I want to throw my hat in the ring on this one is the other two members of the Radicals that never got to go that far. Is Demon Lico and Perry Saturn.
Yeah, man. Fucking Perry Saturn's actually a sad story.
Yeah,
dude.
it's fucking depressing as fuck.
I think Perry Saturn was a fucking great wrestler.
I mean, I don't really remember him on the mic though.
Oh, he was insane. He was the character that he played was crazy. So he would just say the most ridiculous shit. I think he had the mop or whatever. Him and
I remember the mop.
The mop was Moppy or whatever was his fucking girlfriend or some shit.
It's oh my god, another underrated wrestler, Al Snow.
Yeah, Al Snow.
Al
That's
Snow,
another one, man. Al fucking Snow, man. That was he was fucking the old Job Squad with Head.
Yeah.
What does everybody want? Head. What does everybody need? Head. What does everybody love? Head. Yeah, man, he got that fucking mannequin head over, man. I'll tell you what. Yeah, fucking.
But I'm saying, Demon Lico was also a really good wrestler. Obviously.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Again, he's another one. The only thing I remember him mic wise is that whole storyline when he was gonna fuck Lita.
Oh yeah.
And they tricked him.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more.
All right.
Well, I don't know. My memory is kind of vague on him, but I do remember Ken Shamrock kind of being a big deal because he was I don't know if he was, he was a professional fighter, but he crossed over to wrestling. Yeah. So where does he fall?
Yeah, he was part of the early.
He was part of the early Attitude Era
And also,
in the early days of like the UFC when they were like they didn't have weight classes and you were just fighting in like tournament style. So like he was a legit like badass because that shit was like.
What do you remember about him, and do you think he's underrated?
Yeah, I do think he was underrated. I think I felt like his mic skills were good enough to carry him. Maybe if he would have had a manager who could do more of his talk, if he had like a Paul Heyman guy running him or like running the mic for him, I feel like he definitely could have been a world champion caliber. I mean, at least with his wrestling, that was world champion caliber, I think. And he never obviously got that far. He was like Intercontinental champion, I think, a couple times and had a couple decent feuds. I think he had the look. I think he had the persona down. I mean, I don't know. I felt like he was definitely underrated for sure.
I got another one.
Oh, yeah? All right.
I don't know why I like these guys because I don't know that they were ever given like titles or anything. Mm-hmm. Maybe once or twice, but full-blooded Italians, dude. Nunzio and I forgot the other guy.
I forgot about those guys.
I just love their fucking. I think it really boils down to their entrance because they just show up and they have like the No Sleep Till Brooklyn knockoff song, and then they just go like this to everybody. Like
they do the Italian fuck you, like under the chin.
Under that, speaking of that, the whole same thing. What's their name? Remember when we went to SummerSlam and he was in the audience?
Fucking Enzo Amore.
Yeah, and what's the other guy's name?
Big Cass or whatever. Or
Big Cass.
Yeah, that's what he's. I don't know what he's called now, but
I just remember. I think I just remembered one. Right. Oh man, he was. I only remember him for a little bit, but I remember he was a great wrestler. It was on Lance Storm.
Oh yeah, man, Lance Storm was good one too.
I'm trying to think of like what.
That's the thing. You see, you heard the name, but you just can't remember, right?
Yeah,
that was the thing. Like that's how much of a jobber he was.
Canadian. He looked like a Mountie. Like if a Mountie didn't have a shirt on and
was super short.
He had that like buzz. It wasn't like a buzz cut. It was like a crew cut that he had. Like real Canadian, real fucking Canadian. Like super extra Canadian, eh? Like everything he said that kind of annoyed me. But other than that, yeah, I think his wrestling was fucking top notch.
I got two people.
Yeah. All right. Is it a tag team?
If you're the one I'm thinking about, I'm gonna be pissed.
Oh shit! I already forgot who it was. Damn it! Well, one of them was William Regal. And
man.
William Regal, and there was somebody else that I just. Oh my god, I forgot.
William Regal as a character in general, I think, is highly underrated. I mean,
even as the manager for NXT, he was fucking great.
Oh yeah, and then when he was like the
manager of the
Blackpool Combat Club, and then when he was doing back in the Attitude Era, when he was like the commissioner or whatever of Raw or the WWF or whatever it was. I mean, that was some very excellent fucking work that it was done.
There's two guys I have in mind because they were only popular because of the third guy that was in their stable. Mm-hmm. But these two guys were not as popular as I think they should have been. And mostly one of them, but Scotty 2 Hotty.
Oh,
Scotty 2 Hotty now.
Fucking Scotty 2 Hotty. Fuck yeah, dude. Grandmaster Sexay. Too cool, man. They were good. They were a cool tag team,
again,
man.
like without Rikishi, no.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how like you can really test somebody if they're main event material. Like when you have a stable and you start putting people in separate matches and you find out who's the real draw.
That's true. Yeah.
But then again, Rikishi wasn't somebody that that ever ended up with a world title either. But he was
over on his own though.
Yeah.
He was world champion caliber, but he never won it.
Yeah.
Remember that huge match they had with him, Kurt Angle? Like all the main stars were in that big ass Hell in a Cell match.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
And he actually climbed the cage.
Yeah, and and then Undertaker pushed him off into that back of that truck with
God damn, 300 pounds of ass, dude.
Of ass down into the back of a
that
truck.
match almost never happened because Vince was against it. Yeah. It was literally all of SmackDown's biggest superstars in one super dangerous match.
Big meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah, man, that's what it was.
Like if one of them got injured, it could have upset the whole power.
Meat in a cell. That's what it's called.
Okay, this guy isn't underrated because he was actually champion with the New Age Outlaws and D-Generation X. But Billy Gunn,
yeah, I was gonna say
I liked him too. I liked him, but again, somebody that didn't have the mic skills, but always put on great matches. And of course, here's the other person I was gonna say, Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man, Dolph Ziggler definitely fucking underrated.
Fucking Zack Ryder.
Woo woo woo.
Yeah, man.
You know
Zack
it.
Ryder,
That
yeah,
motherfucker made himself great with that whole internet show he had.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fucking, of course, once the WWE says, okay, we're going to pretend to give him a push and then fucking kill him.
Yeah, what was he? He was like 24/7 champion.
No, internet.
No, it's
Internet champion. Internet champion.
Remember it had his whole fucking hairstyle and
Yeah,
shit?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then fuck, man, remember that WrestleMania when they gave him the fucking Intercontinental title?
No,
and
they didn't even give him the title. They just gave him the win of the ladder match.
No, he won the title. He won the Intercontinental title in that ladder match, and then the next night on Raw, they took
yeah,
it
they
back.
took it
They
from him,
fucking
yeah.
took it from
Son
him.
of a
Like,
bitch. What a
Yeah, that's what it was.
that was what a fucking slap to the face, man. Like,
And then he disappeared after that.
yeah, and then that was the last straw probably, and they were like, he was like, fuck this.
Oh, somebody that okay. Granted, he only got his one title reign, I think. I had to say Big E because he started
Yeah.
off as like a mid Carter.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, all of them did, man. Remember when
Kofi Kingston,
the three of them,
When,
yeah.
remember when they came out as the when they were the New Day, they were that gospel religious group.
Yeah.
And then they turned it into the fun thing it actually should have been.
Right.
Yeah, dude, that was so cool to see somebody like that because I think he was in the mid card for like a long time, and I think he was with what's that girl's name that eventually married CM Punk, AJ something.
AJ Lee?
Styles.
AJ Lee.
AJ Styles.
I don't know if it was a stable. It was like Dolph Ziggler, AJ Lee, and Big E. But you know, he was like one of those guys that was like in the mid card and stuff. But then the New Day happened, and like everybody benefited from that. Even like Kofi Kingston got a run with like a title reign because I think he beat Brock Lesnar for like the WWE Championship. But even like Big E got some of that too. I'm like, oh man, those are guys like I never thought would ever hold a fucking title a day in their life, but. Yeah, they got their due once, and I would consider them underrated because they haven't gotten their due since.
Yeah, that is true. All right, anybody you think that is over fucking rated, like is overhyped and just not as good as what everybody fucking remembers?
Based on what? Like their mic
just
skill?
anything in general. Just any. It could be anything. It could be somebody who.
I have a hot take on this one.
Oh, you got a hot take on this one? All
Okay.
right.
Well, Frank can go first because I don't know how. Like, I want to see what he says first.
All right.
You're not gonna like it.
What is it?
Oh, I know exactly what he's gonna say.
Personally, I think CM Punk's overrated.
That's fine. I think he's overrated in the like the actual in-ring wrestling aspect.
No, don't get me wrong.
100%.
Fucking on the mic, he's fucking great. Fucking one of the best.
Yeah,
But actual in ring,
he's all right. He's
He's just
Cena.
average, man.
He's
Like,
Cena.
he's
He
average,
has fine
yeah.
moves. He has everything people complain about Cena. I see in CM Punk.
But I could say the same thing about The Rock too.
I say the same thing about The Rock too.
Yeah.
I always say that again. The Rock is so great on the mic. But that's the thing, though. He wrestles according to his skills, and I think, unfortunately for CM Punk, he's in an era where everybody's out to get each other. Where in the WWE, back in The Rock's time, everybody he wrestled knew how to work with each other. Mm-hmm. So my best example is like the WrestleMania 30, the Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker. Undertaker was pretty much making Lesnar look good. Lesnar wasn't able to keep up with Taker's skills, is what I'm saying. But then there was moments where, okay, Lesnar's carrying Undertaker here. And then, I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say, where CM Punk was fighting people who didn't want to make him look good. So I think that was his downfall, was he was wrestling against the wrong type of people. Especially when he started throwing shade against Vince McMahon publicly and shit like that, they were making him look bad. So with The Rock, you're not going to fuck with the Golden Goose. You're not going to fuck with Triple H's status. So you're going to make sure you wrestle to make them look good as well. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, where like, so like if you have to sell a hit. You have to, how do I phrase this?
I know what you're talking about because I think CM Punk talked about him wrestling against Ryback.
Yeah, like Ryback, that's a good example.
They
right
were
there.
talking about like how Ryback was just kind of a dumb fuck idiot that didn't know how to coordinate like a match while they were doing it, and he kept saying like, "Oh, you got to protect X, Y, or Z," and he wouldn't follow through on it, and that's how like CM Punk ended up getting injured and he never worked with him again. But like And maybe it's just like, okay, if you do a program with somebody else, there's no chemistry there and it doesn't work. And I think, is that what you're getting?
I don't blame CM Punk for it, but I just don't think he was in a situation to be his best.
Maybe, maybe I'm not, maybe it's not the, he's not, it wasn't great. It's just like the right people.
Sorry.
The right people.
Like The Rock and Cena were able to get away with it because they were wrestling people that knew how to make each other look good.
Let's look at an example of that would be of two guys making each other look good that essentially only have 5 moves apiece would be WrestleMania 18, The Rock versus Hogan.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
That match is fucking amazing. But if you really break it down and you get rid of everything,
there's like 3 body slams back to back,
and you look at the actual wrestling, if it wasn't those two guys in there, probably wouldn't be that great of a match. But they know what they're doing with each other. They know what people wanted to see, so they did their 5 fucking moves on each other. They had a great match. They did the moves to each other that could make each other look good. And, at the end of the day, it was a fucking legendary, match. But if it would have been, 2 other dickheads in there, if that would have been a shitty match.
If that was like Lesnar versus somebody else, it would be the worst match of the night.
I think it's because mic skills carry more. It's like
weight.
Yeah, it's like I hate to make the comparison to a comic book, but like you can have the world's best writing for like a comic book, right? Great storytelling, all that shit. But if it doesn't fucking look good, then you don't give a shit.
Yeah, nobody remembers that shit. They just they remember the artwork or
so like as pretty as somebody can make the moves and as great as somebody can sell them, dude, like if you can't fucking talk on the mic, like I think that's why you end up on the mid card, because you need somebody that's gonna captivate an audience that can orate at a world-class level, and there's so few people that can do it, and it's probably why there's only a short list of people that end up being world champion.
Yeah. Or you just get Paul Heyman to do it for you. And
there's another
as long
thing.
as you fucking want.
You get the right pairing of like the right manager with the person that can't talk.
Who was that again that you said that gave him the idea for Paul Heyman to work with Lesnar?
Taz.
That's insane. That man deserves like 18 raises for that shit. That was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
But like I said, like when a wrestler doesn't have the mic skills, you're right. They're no matter how good of a fucking as we've seen, the majority of these underrated wrestlers that we're talking about, like Shelton Benjamin, Lance Storm, all this, had fucking great in-ring skills, enough for us to remember them.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't get that push because they just couldn't.
They just couldn't do it on the mic.
Cut it.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the skills.
And like it's funny, like Eddie.
Skills.
He didn't want to be the WWE champion because he didn't feel like he would be able to carry it, which is one of the dumbest things ever because that motherfucker was great. But it just shows you how much even Eddie Guerrero didn't believe in his own mic skills. So it shows you how fucking cutthroat it actually fucking is that if you don't have that skill.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, dude, if I had to say somebody, well, now that we're still talking on the subject of overrated, I would probably say, I hate to say it, but I want to say The Rock. Because it's not just like it's not just the fact that he has the same cycle of moves that he goes through, whether it's like the people's elbow or the fucking the rock bottom. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of a boring finisher to begin with. But it's also like the canned phrases, dude. Like it's the jabronis, the fucking taking somebody down to this. It's always segueing into that fucking like predictable thing, and everybody ate it up. And I'm like, this was cool. Like when you're a kid, because it's such a fucking funny like.
Oh yeah,
it's funny shit. But then you watch it as an adult, and you're just like, this is just as bad as Hogan, dude. This is just say your prayers and
But that same token, though. How many times could you go back and watch him sing in Sacramento or sing it?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. It's like, well, you know what?
At least The Rock can evolve, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean the Hollywood Rock with like him singing, doing the acoustic sets in the middle of the ring and talking shit about a city. I guess you could say is an evolution in his character or something, because it wasn't just the taking you down to the SmackDown hotel and your jabronis and all that shit.
True. I mean, yeah, I can kind of see where your argument is with that. I don't necessarily know if I 100% agree with it, but I see where it's coming from, and yeah, coming back and looking at some of the things that
but they're all like,
especially if you compare him to someone like Chris Jericho, who's both a great in-ring wrestler and fucking great on the mic. you start to see that, okay, there are some cracks with The Rock.
Right.
But he's just good at like I don't know if it's improving, but
He is great at improv.
like he's just good at working on the spot, like with the crowd.
Yeah, working the crowd, man. That's like
The Rock was
really-
great at that, dude.
Oh yeah.
Especially like his back ring shit, like his interviews in the back, like in the back ring, are always fucking great. And yeah, like he always has to work his way back into the SmackDown Hotel, Jabroni, and It Doesn't Matter, and of course to the If You Smell What the Rock Is Cooking. He has to always lead back into those, but
The classics.
going into those, he's usually improv around the spot, and they're usually fucking great.
Yeah, I mean the fucking Billy Gunn promo for like,
yeah, man.
my name's Billy and I just won, or no, it was King of the Ring.
Yeah.
But there's just one problem. Everyone thinks that I absolutely suck.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Bob, Billy. It doesn't
matter what your name is.
What I'm probably gonna agitate Josh over here with overrated.
Man, I might stab you in the neck.
But I'm gonna say it, dude.
Say it.
Triple H.
Yes.
But do you know what?
All right.
I
Go ahead. Let me hear your argument.
No.
Triple H is the same boat. Is he in the same boat as The Rock and CM Punk? In the ring, he's kind of meh, but he's different in the fact that on the mic, he's also kind of meh.
Yeah, but he was just, I don't know what it is about him.
He knew how to work with every single person he wrestled.
Oh.
That's why he was able to stand out so great. That's why he was such a great heel. He wasn't great on the mic. He was just good enough to get under the skin.
Good enough. And also,
and he was banging the boss's daughter.
Yes. I also have to say that it wasn't so much the mic or the in-ring shit. Okay, I will say the pedigree has to be one of the best
finishers.
Yeah, one of the best finishers.
100%.
But there's something about the
Except for the first
mystique.
time. Did you ever see the first time he did it and the guy fucked it up?
No.
He
locked his arms.
No, you know how we all do the pedigree looks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the guy didn't understand what Triple H was saying. Oh, this is my finisher. So when he jumped, the guy thought it was supposed to be a pile driver. So
So he ended up.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like you see Triple H with this, I just killed him, man.
Yeah, dude. He's supposed to. Yeah, whatever. But okay, so there's something. I don't know what it is, but Triple H has an allure to him,
Or aura.
an aura, or there's I don't know what it fucking is, and I don't know if it's like. It's hard to describe, but you know that time that he came back.
And everyone was cheering for him.
Yeah, and like
He
it
was
was just
face for
him.
a little bit?
It was just him, kind of.
I don't know. That's when
you know-
when he was so badass. He was wearing a black shirt with the black sweater with a denim over a vest.
Yeah, I think it's just like the presence of Triple H that he's just kind of like this menacing figure, and it's the way he stands, like a little bit hunched over, and like
It's his
like a gorilla?
honestly, it's his pedigree.
yeah, and it's like the gorilla thing. Like,
Yep.
I don't know if it's like a gorilla thing, but it's the spitting. It's the spitting of the water. It's the way he walks to the ring. It's not so much what he says. It's just how he carries himself. Kind of like in the same way that Undertaker is.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But he's just a human being. But you're just like, oh, this is a bad son of a bitch.
Because like the thing you have to give
Yeah.
credit to Triple H a lot is that he knows the business in and out. So he, like I was saying, he knows how to work with every single wrestler.
Yeah.
He knows how to play the system just enough to do what he needs to get done. So, but when you look at him, if you put like Josh, he put him on his Mount Rushmore or whatever. If he was to be on Mount Rushmore, he'd be like the Theodore Roosevelt. He'd be, what does somebody say best? If they're saying about Theodore Roosevelt, if Mount Rushmore was a band, he'd be the bassist. That's what Triple H is.
The what? The bass?
The bassist.
The bass. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, like
Hey, man, because he's putting out steady fucking hits and keeping everything in line. All right, just keeping it even. Fucking
Yeah, but out of the whole band, everyone's sleeping with groupies. The bassist is sleeping with the comedian who was the opener.
And he also benefited from having like really bitchin' stables too.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah, and probably, and every theme song he has been a fucking hit.
Dude, Evolution, like I don't know how good that era was. Like I know people kind of talked about it because they used to do like 30-minute segments about them reveling in their them winning championships and being like the stable that had all the top dogs and stuff and whatever. But it was just like, man, this son of a bitch is winning all the titles and stuff. And I always hated him. And yeah, I guess it wasn't so much what he said or anything like that. It's just the presence, the menacing figure of Triple H, the aura, the allure of him that just, I don't know, man, because he was coming up at the same time as like The Rock and all that shit, and you need to put somebody else up against those guys, whether it's like Stone Cold or whatever, or even Mick Foley. Like,
I think again, that was the beauty of him. Like, he was coming up with who would be the biggest stars in wrestling at not just at the time, but in going on. And I'm not saying he could cut it. I'm never gonna say that about him, but I think he realized, okay, The Rock's gonna be this type of person. I have to be the perfect antagonist to him. And he made his career by being by being a pain in the Rock's ass.
Yeah.
And then once that ran its course, Mick Foley. Again, Mick Foley, the super nice, everybody fucking loves him. Let's bully the fuck out of him. Yeah. He knew exactly what the way to get the right reaction from crowds based on who he was wrestling. And I'm just saying, like, again, it's because he knows this industry so fucking well.
And I think he just knows how to be a heel. Like, that's why
I and the sledgehammer, dude.
Yeah,
he's the only person on Mount Rushmore that's a heel, because he was the perfect heel to everybody he faced.
Yeah, and I think that's a lost art almost nowadays in wrestling. I mean, yeah, I think MJF and AEW is kind of like getting back to that, bringing that back a little bit.
Oh man,
but
unfiltered as fuck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think that being a good fucking heel is what really pushes the business forward. I think somebody who's at the top, who's like really good at just being a bad guy, because that makes people want to fucking watch. They want to see this guy get his ass beat. They want to, and then every time, man, they just barely sneak away with the thing, and that makes them just keep tuning in, and then it just gets hot. And then when somebody finally dethrones them, it's so hot. But then, like, a lot of times, that guy who dethroned him just fizzles out, and then someone he gets the title back or whatever. That's kind of always with Triple H for a long time, where he was, the champion, going back and forth for a long time with people, just because that, he was the big heel, and everybody, the hot baby face, needed to chase him, and then would eventually win the title. And then but then it no longer becomes interesting anymore once the good guy wins. So then you give it back to the bad guy, and here he goes. They'll carry it until you find another up and coming, or whoever's going to be the new baby face of the day or whatever, and he'll fight them and keep it going. So yeah, I don't know.
That's one thing I always liked about what's his name, Eddie, where he was doing every heel thing possible, but went over as a babyface for it.
Yeah, that is true. He was doing all the things that Flair was doing that he was hated for, but yet he was cheered and beloved for it.
It's like, you son of. It's like, you. You. Yeah. You.
But so I think Session was talking about in an interview, like, people were tuning in just to see, oh my god, how is Eddie gonna cheat this time? Like,
yeah, dude, WrestleMania 20 when he fucking took off his shoe.
Oh, yeah.
And then people always say, "Oh, that was the big cheating moment." No, people always never notice that when he puts Kurt Angle in that small package, he grabs his foot on the rope.
Yeah, he puts it under the ropes. Yeah,
but, true.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other overrated wrestlers that you can think of?
Well, we went to length about why we thought Triple H. Are you at least trying to defend him?
Well, I mean, I think you guys raised valid points, but like I did. I mean, I said I went on a nice little tirade about why I think that's why he's not overrated, because he knew how to be the heel. Like, somebody's got to be the bad guy. And I mean, look at what he went through going into the beginning of his career. I mean, he had that whole thing with he got fucking shit on by Vince because he was hanging out with the fucking Rebel crew, and nobody's gonna fuck with them because they're the ones making him the money. So who does he go after? He goes after the guy who
ends up being his son-in-law.
Right, exactly. And yeah, maybe that's why he ended up bonus stepping, man, because he knew he had to do something. But I think that is what he decided back in the day when that was going on. Is I think he said, "Hey, you know what? Like, I don't think I'm ever going to really be a guy who's like a top good guy here. So I'm going to lean into this bad guy thing, and I'm going to try to be the best fucking bad guy that you could possibly have." And I think that's really what he turned into, and I think that's why his career was successful to a certain degree. Because, like you said, yes, I don't think his in-ring work. I think his in-ring work is it's all just good enough. He's not a super amazing wrestler. He's not a super amazing guy on the mic.
Like, you see this a lot in Triple H and The Rock's matches. There's a lot of moments where they'll hit, The Rock hits a spine buster, or Triple H hits a huge fucking shoulder attack, whatever. And there's just moments where they're just like, yeah, like there's just like prostrate, and in reality they're like, oh dear God,
yeah.
So I think there was this match where I think it was Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and I think they were facing Randy Orton and somebody else, and I think Randy Orton did the move's called the knee drop, right? Where like you have somebody's face on top of your knee and then you hit the ground. Is that knee drop?
No, knee drop's when they're laying down and you literally drop a knee on them.
Okay, never mind. So what's the one where you
yeah, there's a name for
you
that.
like
Talking about when you grab them right here and you jump up?
Yeah, what is that move called?
I know what you're talking about. I just don't know the name of it.
Okay, well anyways,
Yeah.
I think Triple H, so this is like the funniest thing he's ever
That's
done.
one of his moves, yeah.
No, well, so Triple H ate one of those, and he ended up overselling the move for like 30 seconds.
Just like,
He was just standing there with his head up, and then he takes one step forward and collapses like after standing like that for a minute, and then you see Shawn Michaels kind of like trying to like push him over. Like it was like one of those few moments where like
And that's the thing. That's why I think makes him so.
That's something that he only could have done with Shawn Michaels.
Well, that's the thing that I think what makes him great. What you were kind of talking about is how he plays to everybody's strengths or whatever and their personalities. So like, and I think he does that so well. He's the one that he can make everybody look good. He can wrestle and make them look good. You know what I'm saying? And then also he can do that. He has got that range. I guess he's like the best at being good at it, best at being average at everything, right?
Versatility.
Like, or it's versatile. Yeah, it's like he's like a jack of all trades, I guess.
But
yeah.
the thing about that particular moment is that for a guy that's like is like scowling and menacing and all that shit, is that he's oversold a fucking move to make it kind of hilarious because he's not all that serious, or he's not all that funny of a figure. He's more like on the serious side.
But he doesn't take himself too seriously, I guess.
He can always be silly and stuff with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
But if you would have done that shit with The Rock, that wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have looked as good. But because him and Shawn Michaels have that fucking chemistry, it worked.
Yeah.
So that's why he knows I can't oversell a move with The Rock. I can't oversell a move with Taker. Oh, my best friend that me and him literally just beat the shit out of a child backstage. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, there is like a DX segment like for the second, or I don't know what iteration it was, but it was like in the 2010s when I don't know what Shawn Michaels was getting worked up about. He's like, Shawn, you need to calm down, and then he walks up to like one of the what's your name? Steve. Boom! Hits him with the sweet chin music.
I just hit Steve.
See, I did.
Why did I do that?
And then he just he goes on like
Down the whole hallway.
Yeah,
He just starts hitting people.
It just starts sweet chin music. The one guy and the papers fly up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, that's great. Those are good times. But yeah, anyways, all right. So anybody else have anybody that's
overrated?
They think is overrated or underrated or whatever? Did anybody got anything else to add?
Overrated. I'm trying to think.
I know someone that's overrated in wrestling. That's gonna be Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey, shit. Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? Her introduction where she did that. I don't know if she did a Samoan drop, but she picked up Triple H.
Yeah, I remember that was the whole thing with The Rock. Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, that was kind of cool. I don't remember all her wrestling matches, but
You know what was really fucking cool?
I was about to say.
Oh, good.
Because I remember this vividly. Me and Josh were there when the crowd turned on her. When she got her ass handed to her by what's her fucking name? Charlotte,
yeah.
And everyone was just booing her, and as she's trying to do her little walking away in the rain, and everybody's just doing the whole nah 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 nah.
Oh, okay.
And then remember she went on fucking 5-year hiatus after that.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we were there when they turned on her and she couldn't take it.
Dang.
Yeah, that was cool to watch. It really was. I mean, it really sounded like a prick, but man, that was fuck. Not only was that cool to watch, it was cool to be a part of. Okay, we participated in that.
Sweet.
Like, get the fuck out of here. Go back to fucking UFC, you piece of shit. Like, you want to sit here and walk you like you're the fucking, like you're the man.
Match, dude. Like Charlotte,
it was, man. It was
one of those things where Charlotte was carrying
she
the
was
match.
trying so hard, dude,
and like Ronda was
she was just sucking bags of dicks, man. It was just like
just because that's the thing people think, just because you're athletic you can be a wrestler.
Yeah, you can't.
No, you can't.
It's a fucking art.
Yeah, it is, and it's just because you think you're tough too. You think you could do it. Nah, man, it's not about that.
Don't get me wrong.
Man.
You need some toughness to be a wrestler.
It's not all about that though. Like, you got to be able to do this. It's a different type of toughness you got to have to do that shit. It was fucking amazing to fucking watch that and to be a part of it. It was pretty interesting.
All right, so what were we gonna say about overrated or something?
No, I was just saying if anybody had any more other people that they were wanting to say about who was overrated or underrated.
Rousey.
He was saying Ronda Rousey. Yeah.
No, I was saying you were gonna say something, but I cut you off.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that exact thing. You brought it up. Exactly what I was gonna say.
I don't know how you guys feel about this because it's not something that we've actively watched with like SmackDown or Raw. But what do you think about Roman Reigns being overrated, especially with the 1,000-day reign of the titles or the undisputed champion? But certainly again, going back to the podcast that I was hearing about Paul Heyman, he was talking about like I guess there was some kind of time back in like 2014. I don't know when it was, but the three of them, like Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Paul Heyman, were all talking to each other or something like that. So they all liked each other, and Paul Heyman always teased like, "Oh, we should try doing something together." And there was a time for Roman Reigns being the big dog. That was his gimmick after the Shield and stuff. And that was from like 2014 or 2015 up until 2019.
Yeah.
And, I think that's something that people didn't really like because it felt like it was force fed to us. And then in 2020, he became the tribal chief or whatever.
Right, yeah.
But I don't know. How do you feel about... Because now they're considering him the greatest of all time, which I guess is technically true because if you want a champion that's going to be remembered, it's somebody that's held the title for a number of days, right? It's not Ric Flair being 16-time world title holder.
And Cena. They're tight.
Right. But now that we're all kind of removed from like the modern era,
but
and
he's still but he's still long off from the record though.
What's the record?
It's like 4,000 days.
By who?
Bruno Santino.
Yeah, Bruno Sammartino had it for like 8 years. Some shit like that.
He had it for 8 years.
Yeah, it was like some ridiculous
But then
number.
nobody's gonna remember that because that's not to say it's a lost era, but like
it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, but
it's still the record.
Yeah.
But okay, so the same thing can be said about Bill Russell with the Celtics having 11 championships and Michael Jordan. Who do you remember more? You remember Michael Jordan more for being undefeated,
right?
Six rings,
undefeated. But then you also got to put into the consideration that wrestling is fixed, where that basketball isn't. And it used to not be.
Yeah.
Well, as far as Roman Reigns is concerned, I never really liked him to begin with. Even when he was in the Shield and whatever, the three of them combined, I think that was good. But as a standalone, I didn't think Roman Reigns was really that great.
I think he was better than the other fucker that one dude they tried to put over, the Indian dude.
Jinder Mahal?
Jinder Mahal.
Oh, yeah.
I like Roman
Maharaja.
Reigns. Yeah, I like Roman Reigns better than I liked him.
Yeah, I give him that.
Because that's one of the things where your ethnicity is your gimmick.
That feels like a Vince thing. I get
that. I'm saying, I'm not. Again, it may not be his fault. But I just say that's how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I will say that the bloodline thing or whatever, I do. From what I've seen of it, it's enjoy. I like it. I enjoy it. Roman Reigns is. Isn't
he working with Paul Heyman right now?
Yeah, he's like the mouthpiece for the bloodline. I don't know if they're really.
Yeah, because I remember I saw a promo. He's like, he was talking. It was fucking great. Heyman was talking. There was an interview and. Because they were talking about how the bloodline lost something, so this is going to affect Roman Reigns in his title and stuff.
Yeah, the Usos lost the undisputed championships or the tag teams.
So he was asking if this is going to affect Roman Reigns and shit, and he was talking about how he remembers a time when he was talking to Dusty Rhodes, and he did the whole impression of him, and it was fucking funny. But he's like, he told him that. What is your, because he's talking about the promo he just pulled off back then, and he was saying, is that where you want to be? Is that where your money's at? Is that where the big ticket item is? What you just did? And he's like, no, it was at the time. And then he says, but after all these years, I can say one thing: Roman Reigns is where the money's at. And I was like, fuck, Heyman's fucking great.
Yeah, and I think that combination is definitely. I think that over time now, it's like, yes, they forced it down our throats enough or whatever with the Roman Reigns thing, but I don't know. I think that it's grown on me, I guess, in the sense of like I don't necessarily really like Roman Reigns, but I get. All right, I get it now. I guess.
I think
he's better now than he was the first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Definitely.
His promos are way better.
Yeah, definitely.
He has
when they first broke up the Shield and he did the whole thing.
Yeah, it was garbage.
Everybody, not even The Rock was able to get him over.
Yeah.
But now, like, he's 100 times better than he was back then.
I still think, I hate to say it, but the reason that I don't buy him is that there's still a degree of like nepotism.
Yeah.
Because you think like it's always brought up, especially with like the bloodline thing, that it's his family that has greatness, right? And he's like the next person in line. And I'm like, dude, I wish you could just do it on your own and like not rely on your family so much because it undersells you as a person.
But you got to give him credit in the fact that he didn't do it for The Rock.
He didn't. I did it for The Rock.
That was a good one. That was a good one, Frank.
But yeah,
shit.
It is cool to see that stable. Yeah, like I said, it's he's definitely had an evolution from the big dog, and
and I give him credit for that. I'm not. And listen, I'm not knocking Roman Reigns as a performer or whatever. I think he's a great performer. I think obviously he's been doing it for whatever 1,000 days or whatever it is, like as the guy, the top guy. So obviously you have to have some sort of ability. You can't just be some shithead and fucking have those belts for 1,000 days in the biggest fucking wrestling company on the in the history of the planet, not just in the planet currently, but in the history of everything. So I mean I do, hey, I give respect, and I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not hating on him. It's just, hey, we're talking about what our personal preferences and opinions are, and of the characters and their work in the ring. So I mean, like I said, before I didn't really like him. Now, like I said, he's kind of grown on me. I never really liked him to begin with, but it's growing on me now.
So I think another hard sell for me is the moveset that he has.
Yeah.
Superman punch is not all that great of a finisher. Neither is the what is the spear?
Yeah.
No. To me, like in my head canon, there's only two people that can do it. And it's Goldberg and it's fucking Rhino. Yeah.
But to be fair to Rhino, it's called the Gore.
The Gore, right.
That's true.
Remember The Rock? He goes, we got the Gore, and then we got the whore.
Yeah. So it's the moveset, but also maybe it was, at least from what I've listened into this podcast, is that I think they tried to put a gimmick together that he wasn't completely down with, so it wasn't like his fault. But now it's like when he came back after, I think, him having chemo or some shit, like he's like, all right, I'm putting my foot down on what I want to do as a character, and it feels like the tribal chief is his first real attempt. Right. Maybe that's why he's over now, is because now he's doing something that he's invested in.
Yeah, Josh always says, like, the best personalities are the ones who are themselves, but put it up to 10.
Turn it up to 11, man. And
like, there's some beauty to this because, again, like, I'm not somebody that's a huge Roman Reigns fan, but like Josh, I'm starting to come around to it. Is that he's kind of like a dude? He's a great manipulator, like gaslighter, because the whole thing, like the Jimmy and Jey Uso shit. But it's, oh my god, I lost what I was trying to say. No,
Jimmy and Jey, he was a great manipulator.
Yeah, but okay, so never mind, I got it back. So it's also the fallout from the Shield that, like, he's built this stable now.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah, was that like someone moaning or yelling?
I think it was a plane.
I thought I heard a dog.
Oh, weird. All right.
Yeah, well, anyways, getting back to Roman Reigns. So on top of the...
Go ahead, I'm listening.
On top of the bloodline stuff, the fact that he's building up this stable of his family and creating a unit, although it's unstable because, like, him being a master manipulator and stuff, it's also like, if this thing falls apart, he's going to feel like he's betrayed from his own family, like the same way the Shield did. And that came to fruition with the Sami Zayn taking part in the bloodline, where Sami Zayn was like, you need to strike your brother. You need to take down Kevin Owens with his chair. And then Kevin Owens, or rather Sami Zayn, takes the chair shot to Roman Reigns. And it was very reminiscent of the last days of the Shield when Seth Rollins struck him in the back. And it was like, oh, there's a bit of parallel to that. It's very beautiful. And now it's like, oh, is Roman Reigns going to
suffer the same fate that...
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, this is gonna be like in his head. Like I imagine the characters thinking like, shit, this is not only is this worse, if this thing falls apart and it's gonna be my own family members that take me down, like this I'm never gonna trust anybody again. Like
true.
So I guess that's why, like, as far as like the storytelling goes, I guess I come around to the Roman Reigns bloodline saga.
Storyline, yeah. No, like I said, I can agree with that. So. All right, awesome. Anyways, does anybody else got anything? Anything? No. Everybody. All right. Well, shit. I mean, I think this is a good. I mean, God, we've been going for like an hour 45 on this one, so it's pretty good.
Wait, I got one you can add.
Ooh.
The only greatness to them was how much of an antagonistic group they were. Was the right to censor?
Oh yeah,
right to censor.
Yeah, that's true. They were very antagonistic.
Oh, I got a person that's overrated, and it's just simply for the fact that he's tall, and
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I think he had to be like the weakest link of NWO, but
never mind.
Big Diesel.
Oh, you mean Kevin Nash?
Kevin Nash, like as a world champion, dude, kind of fucking boring.
Oh yeah, 100%. He was super boring.
But it's
just because he's fucking tall and he probably hit hard and shit. And
he had the look.
You just had the look, but then there's no substance, dude.
Right, but then when he went to the NWO, when he went to WCW and he was in the NWO, that's when we got the substance. And if you look at, this is going to go on a slight tangent, but if you look at what they did with the Diesel character after he left, they just slid another guy in there. And literally that guy was the same dude that Diesel was. So literally that was Kevin Nash playing a shitty character that he probably didn't really like, but hey, fuck, man. They're putting the belt on me, so fuck it. I'll just do it. And when he went to WCW and he kind of got to like let the reins off a little bit and kind of be more of, like you said, like I always say that thing about you, the best wrestling personalities are always those ones where you just let them be themselves and then you just turn it up. Just turn it up all the way.
Turn it to 11.
Turn it to 11. And I think that's what the Outsiders were when they went to WCW. They weren't a gimmick. They were themselves turned up to 11. They shed those gimmicks back in the WWE. Same thing with Hogan when they finally let him go heel, like with that whole thing, like you just turned him up. He was Hogan, he was still Hogan, but you just turned him up even higher than he already was, and you made him an asshole. And man, that was for great stuff. The Rock, Stone Cold, all those guys, same thing. Like just turn that shit up to 11. And yeah, I think Diesel. I agree with you. I think Diesel as in the WWF was fucking boring as shit. Probably one of the weakest. I mean, that WrestleMania 11, which was. I don't know if that was the actual main event, but it was the last, or the championship match was Diesel versus fucking Shawn Michaels, and it was all right.
It was dry.
It was the storyline leading up to it was kind of shitty, like just because. I mean, on Shawn Michaels' side, it was great because he won the Royal Rumble, he did all this other bullshit, and Diesel was just kind of like, I used to be your bodyguard, but now I got the belt. So what are you gonna do about it? Like that's pretty much what it was. Like fucking. So
that's the best way to sell that pay-per-view, dude. Man, I used to be your bodyguard, and now I'm champion. What
do
you something?
What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. Speaking of the train, remember the fucking Godfather?
Oh yeah, the Ho Train. Man, the Godfather, underrated. Pretty much everybody in the Right to Censor was underrated when they were individuals, and then when they became Right to Censor, they were underrated collectively as a group.
Okay, this guy, I don't know if this dude. I don't know if this dude's underrated. The only reason I say he's underrated is because I don't know if he was on drugs or whatever, but D'Lo Brown, the way he walked to the ring,
yeah, man, the D'Lo Brown,
and
man.
he just like wiped his nose, like,
And then you remember when he used to wear the fucking catcher's gear, the chest protector, because he was doing the frog splash and like he didn't want to fucking hurt himself.
Yeah. Cool. So D'Lo Brown, real quick.
D'Lo Brown, I think I agree, underrated, man.
Underrated.
I like D'Lo Brown.
All right. So yeah, I think this is the end.
I think this is the end. I agree. I actually have to take a piss too, so it probably works out for the best. But anyways, thanks for if you're still here, thanks for fucking listening this far, and stay tuned for the next episode, which I don't really know what the fuck that's gonna be. Maybe we'll talk about WrestleMania in general next time. I don't
WrestleMania,
know. Like just talk about all the greatest spectacle of them all, WrestleMania. I think that's what will be the episode 3. So, anyways, awesome. All right. Well, again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.
That was another wonderful, amazing, powerful episode of the Game Rage Wrasslin podcast. And take it from me, ladies and gentlemen, the natural lad, Jet Swag. If there's one podcast, one show you should be listening to, that you should be absolutely grateful for, it's the Game Rage Wrasslin podcast. And one of the things you can do to show your appreciation for all the hard work and dedication that these boys put out day in, day out, just for you people, it's that you can go and you can subscribe and you can like and follow them on the Instagram and the TikTok at Game Rage Magazine. You can also follow them and like them and subscribe to them on the old Twitter, which I don't know what it's called now, but who cares? It's at Game Rage Mag there. Additionally, if you feel the need to really show your appreciation, which you should, then go to their website at www.GameRageMagazine.com and show us some love. Show them some love. And show some love for the natural lad, Jet Swag.